My name is Joylina and I have been working in the spiritual field now for well over 10 years. There's not much I don't do, and at the same time I specialise in living with soul, which is really around making sure that we're bringing these soul qualities that we are as divine beings in human bodies into this manifest them in this world today. I've always been able to do it. I just didn't realise I was doing anything different. It was such a part of my being that it was just normal for me in everyday life. The trigger that sort of really brought it to consciousness and got it sort of active in me again, if you like, was my husband's death. When he passed on in 1999, I actually started to think to myself, what is the greater meaning of life? And I had already noticed some patterns in my family, which on his death I noticed were in his family as well, of emotional abandonment of children between the ages of 3 and 9. And that had been through my family, both male and female side, and my husband's family, both male and female side. And whereas I'd always expected to die very young, like my mother had, and I was always very careful of myself when my daughter was coming up 9 years old, I was very, very careful of what I did, hardly went out the house. And yet, my son was 9 when his father died. So there was this huge pattern. And I just sort of thought, okay, well, something's got to give. Something has to happen. I have to find out more about it. I need to explore it. I need to find out. So I started exploring all the world's religions, basically, and really removing the fear. Because when I think back about it, I had the opportunity to come into this way of life when I was about 19. And I didn't because I was scared of it. Because I'd been taught that it was evil, etc. And even though I knew in myself and always had known that there was only a loving God, I'd been brought up with a sort of fearful one type thing, and somehow I just sort of never felt that was right. So when I was doing all this research and discovering and reading and everything else, it just all started falling into place, because the message from all the religions all around the world since time began has actually always been very, very similar. The only difference has been how man has chosen to interpret it. Well, I think originally I did remember that when I was about 3 years old, I woke up in the middle of the night and there was an angel at the bottom of my bed telling me to go and wake up Mummy. And I didn't know much about it, and I did, and apparently the house was catching fire. So that was my first angelic experience. After that, sort of I grew up and knew I wasn't good enough to see angels, so it was all in my imagination. So I sort of put it to one side, but once I'd started rediscovering it, I just found that the angels are there. They're a very soft and gentle energy, and they're always there helping us. And when I started reading and was reading more about it, I started experimenting, and I really didn't think that the car park angel could possibly work, because let's face it, you know, they're much too important people to be bothered with little things like that. But it worked. And I will say that, you know, sort of since this part of the journey began, I've always been quite skeptical and cynical, and I've always had to prove things to myself. So I don't teach anything that I haven't actually experienced for myself, and I haven't experienced and really know in myself. And I do believe that there's so many different ways of doing things. None of them are, you know, my way is no more right than another way or anything. So I always teach that if it resonates with someone, accept it. If it doesn't, let it go. Well, on a practical level at the moment, I feel that it really is just about asking. If we ask the angels, then they can bring all sorts of things to us. I believe angels are qualities of energy, and therefore they've been around since time began, and they've had lots of different names, so the name of them doesn't matter. But as long as we're asking for that quality, so if we're actually feeling very down and very depressed, then asking for the Archangel of Joy to come into our life for a while might be a good idea. And it's amazing how you can just ask for that and begin to start to notice how you're laughing more. You're choosing to see things from the funny perspective, you know, and realistically speaking, if you're living with soul, all you're actually doing is taking those very positive qualities and expressing them in your life. So by looking at what is in your life rather than what's missing, by choosing to focus on something that you really do enjoy and doing more of it, then you're transforming your energy on the inside immediately. And it's so simple to really just notice, just changing your body position makes you feel different. And it's only, the thing we have to do is notice these things. And as you're asking the angels to help you and you're following the signs, you're noticing the signs. And the signs come in so many ways. So many people will see number plates and words in them. You'll get music coming through on the radio, which, you know, the lyrics are just what you need to hear right now. Or that person comes into your life and drops that piece of information that you needed or is there for you. All these things are signs from the angels. All we have to do is notice them and appreciate them and follow them. Your angel journey came around through me beginning to notice that actually we're all on a journey of life, maybe a journey of many lifetimes. But in this particular life, as I said, I noticed these patterns in my life and I realized that they needed to be broken in some way. And I was curious about what caused them. So a lot of the things that I did on my journey was sort of NLP training, counseling training, Reiki master, etc. All these sort of various different things that I did. And it was really around noticing how it all formed a pattern. And so I wrote the book not as an expression of my journey. It's not an autobiography. It's actually just how to use the tools and techniques that I used to get me from what was a very bad space into a job and a work that I really love. When I was a child, I always wanted to travel the world and work, you know, like most children do. That was my dream. So I spent a lot of time learning languages and getting qualifications and working for large organizations that would be able to send me around the world to work. And it never happened. But now I travel the world and work because I'm doing something I love doing that I've fallen into almost accidentally in comparison to what I thought I wanted to do. And at the same time, all my dreams have come true. And that can happen, and it can happen for everybody as soon as we let go of thinking and trying. And it's very hard to let go of trying to do something. So the book is really about the journey towards letting go of trying to be the best that you can be and being the best that you can be right now, which makes the transformation to the divine and to the connection of our own divine selves. So it's called sort of Your Angel Journey, releasing the inner angel. So it's about really finding the tools and techniques and using them with the angelic realms, clearing all the chakras, clearing all the patterns to release the inner divine person of who we truly are, rather than who we have become by society. And the reason I wrote it was that I'd noticed that I achieved all my goals. It was never a problem. And I always got there, but I was never very happy. One goal just meant, well, what's the next one? What should the next one? I was never very happy with what I'd achieved. So by going through the process and by going through the journey, your angel journey, you come in line with your soul essence of who you truly are, and then you set your goals along those lines. And then, of course, you're then being authentic, you're being true to yourself. Everything's, to be honest, everything just starts to fall into your lap. Well, I feel that the reason now is as good a time as any when you think about what we haven't done and how our world has developed. And okay, it's changed and it's moved on in the last year, few months, but at the same time, it had been, we come from a space of fear and power and control. And everybody has the right to be individual, to be free, to make their own choices. And I think with 2012 coming, and I'm not, I don't think there's going to be any sort of ending of anything, in 2012, but it is a catalyst that we can use to transform our own energies and to transform our own lives into being the best that we can be and happy. At the end of the day, we want to be happy, and we think that this is going to make us happy. Having the big house or the big car is going to make us happy, or the big job or the respect or whatever. And yet we can be happy today in very, very simple ways. You know, today has been a wonderful day, the weather's been fabulous, and I'm sure all those people who've had a chance to be walking on the moors will know that they've been happy today. And it is that simple. And what I do on that particular workshop, and why it's so important now, is to actually make it in the present, because it's only what we do in the present that can affect our future. The rest is all our imagination.